All right, so I was just throwing the some of these KX250 billet cases together. These I've gone through a couple prototypes now on these. I haven't posted anything here on YouTube, but I have. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see some pictures and videos of these cases running in the 2019 KX250 AF. I did. But yeah, hopefully, so the last couple sets had a couple of revisions, but these should be the first article. These ones should be ready to go. So I was throwing them together and I figured I should just maybe record a little bit here. So this is the right side. I just dropped all the bearings and it's still pretty hot, but this is what they look like on the inside. Nice, clean, simple look, functional. Transfers are nice and they work pretty awesome. So I was just gonna heat this side up and drop the bearings in. I guess show you guys step by step how these go together. They go together in just the same way that cast ones do. Really nothing different, but other than the hydraulic clutch and a couple little things here and there. But yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys step by step on this. All right, so just heat these up and get the bearings in. On my torch. There it is. Let's see. Take this guy. Ow, hot. Drops right in. This little guy. Fuck. Hard to do it one-handed. Oop. Screwed it. One sec. All right, so we got the case halves together. I didn't show you guys that. That's just kind of the same process there as any other bottom end. So yeah, that's all together, looking good. The crank spins nice and freely, just like it should. It's kind of the fitment of everything. Studs are in. And now the next step here is start tossing everything into the right side of the engine. So clutch, kickstart stuff, primary drive, and the shift mechanism. So yeah, this is all 03 stuff. So we got actually new clutch and pretty new Hinson basket for this one, and then just the OEM power valve, shift components, things like that. So yeah, let's start tossing it together. All right, so first things first is the shift drum detent. Little pin. Get that lined up properly. Like that, right on the pin. A little bit of Loctite on that bolt. Okay, so did a couple more things here. So I added the rest of the shift mechanism, the D10 arm. It's all in there. This is all just the original 03. parts, nothing special there. There's a nice little post and cutout for the spring. Rides on the detent selector just like it should. But for this plate, so 0304 have this plate, 99 to 02 have no plate. It's kind of just a little different claw sort of thing. But to make both work, what I added was a threaded boss down here, and then in the kit we replace this bolt that would be on the other side and originally go into the OEM threaded boss there, or right into the case, and we replace that with a slightly longer bolt to reach down to the case, and this aluminum standoff, so then it fits just like factory and rotates nicely, so it should, and allows you to either run this stuff, or if you have the 9902, you would just leave that hole open and install your 9902 shift mechanism, and it'll work just fine as well. Okay, so next step, I'll also threw the crank seal in. These are nice, so I think I mentioned this before already, but the OEM cases, you can't even remove the seal without splitting the cases and taking your main bearings out. They're captive in there because there's a little lip on this side. But as part of this design, I just made it so it's like most modern bikes, you can just push them in from the outside. So if the seal ever does fail, it's, you know, you can actually service it just by pulling your side cover off. Same thing on the stator side as well. So just a nice update on that, instead of having to split the cases, which is silly. So next thing, I'll throw the rest of the shift mechanism in here and start putting the clutch in. Okay, so that's all of the kickstart mechanism with the idler gear, shift shaft, basket, primary, and power valve. This will probably go on the cover when I stick the cover on, but just showing the alignment of everything, backlash is appropriate. So yeah, everything fits just like it should. It's got all the right amount of clearance. Shaft centers are all calculated like they should be, and also I started with the dimensions from the scan file for the OEM cases, but then did calculations on everything to get the correct, exact shaft spacing. So everything's laid out very nicely. So yeah, I'll get this torque down and the rest of the clutch put together, and dowel pins in, gaskets, and go from there. All right, so got everything tightened down. Gasket laid on here with the dowel pins. Looking good. One thing I wanted to talk about was the 99 to 04 side cover is exactly the same. I don't know if it's the exact same part number, but physically it's the same part. But the earlier than 99, so 93 to 98, I believe. 93 is when they redesigned these to be basically in the final form. But the 93 to 98 cover is really similar. It's the same gasket actually. So it will bolt up to this. The only thing that's different is this lower bolt hole. So this is I have the gasket set. I think this is for that 93 to 98 cover. So I just want to show it overlaid. If I can get it to line up. So yeah, there's the 99 to 04 bolt hole, and the earlier one, 93, 98, is just move that back a little bit, which is weird why they made that tiny little change, but they did. So on the later one, it's a through bolt from the side cover. It's a big long bolt that goes all the way through down there. But the earlier one is actually this hole, which is still in the casting. So I guess why I'm saying this is if you wanted to use these cases, I'm advertising them for 99 to 04, but if you had a 93 to 98 engine, everything will still work. The cylinder, crank, those same part numbers. There's only a couple differences. The transmission is a bit different, and why you really couldn't make it work in these cases. So if you had one of those and you wanted these billet cases, you'd have to get a 99 to 02 transmission, and plus the shift mechanism, and then really just drill this, or I guess it's the other way. You'd have to drill this one out and plug this hole off, and you'd be able to run these cases. So to my knowledge, those are the only differences that would prevent you from using a 93 to 98 donor engine for these cases. But if you took care of those two things, you should be able to fit everything in it, and it should work. So anyways, I'm just gonna throw the cover on and go from there. With the Boys and Water pump or super cooler on this one, it's a pretty nice part. I just took advantage of all these other changes and then throw that on there too. So that's the fitment there. Honestly pretty happy with the way these cases came out and how everything lines up. I mean, really, right on. All the way around. Just like it should. There's one bolt there, I'm gonna go grab another one of those. Throw the clutch cover on. So there we go. That's the whole right side assembled. Let's see. Bring that over. Full 03 internals, bottom end internals. The trained eye would notice that I forgot one part. Conventionally, I would be taking this apart right now to put it in, but for these cases, this will be one of the last parts I put in. So clutch push rod can be inserted towards the end after we put the hydraulic slave on. I'll probably do that when it's on the bike. But yeah, just slip right in there, just like that. Nice and simple. And you got a hydraulic clutch on these cases, so that's pretty cool to have on these older bikes. You know, old clutch pull on a lot of these old engines is kind of usually a bit heavy and kind of inconsistent, you know, and especially if you got worn out levers or whatever, or dry cable. So having the hydraulic clutches is a really nice thing to have, and it really just makes these bikes smoother, easier to ride. And it looks cool. So yeah, I guess flip it around here and I'll